smooth curve of high power threats. The token deck is much more trying to assemble A and B together.
Right. And I mean, the cards that are going to be very important for Yurien are those swords. He does have a Daybreak Ranger in his main deck, which is this is a matchup where it does shine. And one card that he does not have a lot of that's particularly good in this matchup is Naturalize. He has only one copy of Naturalize in his sideboard, only one copy of Acidic Slime that is also in his sideboard. So he's not going to be able to actually remove a Honor the Pure or Intangible Virtue in game one.
Yeah, he's very soft to the enchantments. He also has 2 copies of Art Trail on his board too, which are fine here.
They're reasonable.
Yeah.
They don't really do much if either of the enhancers hit the board. Wolf Run though is actually he has 3 copies of Kessig Wolf Run in his deck, which has become pretty standard for red green decks these days. But Wolf Run, even with just a creature like Thrun or whatever really, can often just be enough to sort of break through the chump block plan the black-white token decks are on. And Chris does not have access to one of the really powerful cards, or a couple of the really powerful cards against red-green, like Timely Reinforcements and Day of Judgment. Particularly out of the tokens deck, Timely Reinforcements can be backbreaking because you can end up with 3 2/2 tokens, 3 3/3 tokens, and that ends up really swinging a game. So a couple defining cards in each deck that are sort of absent. So we'll have to see how things match up without them.
So it looks like both players are actually taking a mulligan here, if I saw that correctly.
So on 6 cards, I'm more inclined to think that the red green deck has an even better shot. The token deck, we talked a little bit about how he has a bit of a low land count, but also the token deck is more about sort of assembling a critical mass of stuff. That you need to have your token generators, you need to have your anthem effects, and you need your lands. Whereas the red green deck, it can just land a sword and kill you with a bird. Whatever sort of mana creature it happens to have. And
if Basco's deck ultimately is a little land light, then that means these mulligans are way more likely to haunt him than Seyssel. What do you think of Seyssel's Planeswalker split? It seems like 2 Garruk the Relentless is sort of the industry standard, and he has 1 copy of Garruk Relentless and then 1 Big Garruk in his main deck.
Yeah, I mean, Big Garruk I think is a more powerful card, but it's obviously a more expensive card and a bit less versatile card. I think that Garruk Relentless is the Planeswalker I personally tend to lean toward, but Garruk Primal Hunter, if you're playing against, say, like blue-black control, Esper control, you'd rather have, rather make a 3/3 than a 2/2, basically. And in matchups where the fight ability isn't relevant, Garruk Primal Hunter is often, significantly more powerful. Maybe he expected a field with a bit more control than aggressive decks. Here, I think that Garruk Primal Hunter is substantially better, both because it's making 3/3s and because it's going up in loyalty, which is important against the flying tokens that the black-white token deck is capable of producing.
Yep. And so it looks like we're about to get underway here. A force and a bird for Seyssel. Entered by a Plains and a Champion of the Parish for Basco.
Now, Champion's one of the cards that can actually significantly change the dynamic of the matchup because, in particular, with the green-red aggro deck, doesn't really have a great way to deal with a champion that really gets out of control, and it can give the black-white token deck a real way to just get a big threat immediately. And Yurien recognizes that and takes it out with Galvanic Blast in response to Gather the Townsfolk. So only 2 1/1s rather than a 3/3 in addition to that.
So Seyssel's hand is quite awesome. It's 2 copies of Huntmaster of the Fells and a Llanowar Elf that he just drew. I don't believe Basco has a 3rd land yet, too, so he might just be stuck on a lot of expensive action here if he doesn't draw a land.
Huntmaster comes down, brings the puppy. So Basco with only 2... he draws an Intangible Virtue, which is pretty powerful here. The Wolf's just going to trade off, and Basco has no access to no colored mana that can actually kill a Huntmaster. The Huntmaster. So Yurien can just flip.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can just say go, kill that token.
And he's just drawn a red-white sword too.
That was a black-green sword.
That's a black-green sword.
Yeah, much less potent. He has 1 black-green sword in his main deck.
Oh, okay.
So here, I mean, Yurien doesn't necessarily want to say go. He actually can play a second Huntmaster.
Or a sword and an elf, which seems way worse, but yeah, he has
I think you want to play your second Huntmaster here, because then even if Chris plays, another token generator in his following turn, Yurien can make 2 4/4s.
Yeah. It makes whatever turn you eventually have to pass way more attractive.
Though, looking at Chris's hand, he has a pair of Midnight Hauntings, or even a trio of Midnight Hauntings. So this could actually get bad for Yurien, because he's going to try and pass. Chris is going to cast Midnight Haunting, and then start taking a bunch of damage in the air, and he'll never be able to flip those Huntmasters, because Chris will consistently be able. Well, actually, no, he'll be able to cast. He won't be able to cast a spell on his own turn and on Yurien's turn. So yeah, if Chris casts the Midnight Hunting now, then Yurien can just say go on his own turn. Because the fact that Chris is a little bit stuck on mana, despite the fact that those are instants, Yurien is still able to get the flip in. So the soldier does not attack, does not want to trade with the wolf again. And I imagine what we're going to see here is attack you with the wolf, go, and just eat a bunch of guys.
Yeah, he has drawn a 5th mana source here, so now he has the decision of.
You don't want to sword here. I think it's pretty clear, especially because when Huntmaster flips, he gains trample. Ravage of the Fell has trample, which makes the fact that that's a green-black sword not really that big a deal, because he can still hit through whatever sort of blocker with the 6-power trampling creature. And Yurien really ought to just say go here and flip those Huntmasters, and that's exactly what he does. Double trigger; those spirits are going to be dead.
Night falls.
Yes.
Your spirits are dead.
Ow! And Chris drew a swamp, but he doesn't have any black spells in his hand. He's just has a bunch of token generators. It looks like 2 more. I think is that a champion?
He certainly 2 copies.
2 Midnight Hauntings. And that says go. So Yurien can, if he does, he draws a green Sun Zenith. That's interesting, because I think wants to cast Sword, Equip, and Attack, which is exactly what he's doing. So yeah, attack.
Just alpha.
Yeah, if you just send them all, because if Chris has Midnight Haunting, he could double block the unequipped Huntmaster with 2 tokens, but at that point he's taking 8 damage, and you're still hitting him with sword and getting it on tap.
Yeah,
all of them attractive. Come in. Right. So Chris doesn't really have many good options here. He casts the Midnight Haunting, and I imagine he's gonna just trade off with the Huntmaster,
the non-equipped.
Right. Trade off with that and the wolf. Maybe, though he may be trying to need to assemble enough to actually take down the additional Huntmaster, but I guess if he double blocks, he does not realize that has trample. Yeah, he peeks over. Oh yeah, okay. So that's
that game was looking.
Oh, he was not gonna win regardless of whether he
needs running Oblivion Rings or something like that to get back in.
But that's one of the tricky things. Ravage of the Fells has trample. A lot of people don't realize that the backside of Huntmaster actually has an additional ability,
because it has trample. It's like its 7th most relevant ability or whatever.
Yeah,
so it's pretty low on the list. So we have a trivia question while these players are sideboarding. It is for
at least 6 months.
A prize to be determined later. Oh, 6 months.
6 months. Later is about a second later when we put it out.
And so we have to do. You have to do something Twitter oriented.
Yeah, you have to post you have to post with the hashtag SCG Premium at SCG Live. Just SCG Premium. It doesn't have to be at SCG Live, but I can read them if you post at SCG Live. So you should do that, especially if we have funny answers. But the question is, name the 2 new mechanics that have been previewed in Avacyn Restored.
Yeah, one of them we actually had a preview card yesterday.
We did. You should go and check out the Magic Show featuring that new card if you have not seen it yet.
There are 2 new mechanics that have been spoiled. Please name them both.
1 and 2.
Hashtag
SCG Premium.
SCG Premium.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, back to our match. So, looking at the sideboards, how do you think these players are going to choose sideboard?
I assume that the Stony Silence has to come in to try to fight Red-White Sword, because it's basically his best answer. Nothing else really seems too terribly attractive.
I could see. I mean, it's kind of marginal. I could see wanting the single Sorin. You certainly don't want your Sword of War in pieces, and he has 2 copies of Stony Silence that he's bringing in, so he's going to want another card. I could see bringing in a Celestial Purge against Huntmaster.
Yeah, I would be apprehensive about bringing in another 4, assuming that he's going to keep in Hero Blade Hold.
Sure, and Hero's excellent in this matchup.
Yes.
This is actually one of the places where Hero's very, very good, because you can just play a Hero and win by attacking with it like twice.
So, yeah, I just,
Maybe he brings in Mortar Pod, Celestial Purge. I think Celestial Purge is good. He knows that, having seen the deck list, that Yurien also has Hellrider. And Hellrider is a card that can also sort of break through the sort of wall of tokens he's able to generate and still kill him if he's low enough. So Celestial Purge deals with both of the relevant 4-drops in Yurien's deck. So I think that's probably the best choice. On Yurien's side, despite the fact that it was pretty good that game, I think he's probably going to board out Sword of Feast and Famine.
Yeah, probably just a straight swap with Red-White Sword.
Yeah, with a Sword of War and Peace. I think he certainly wants to bring in Acidic Slime and Naturalize. Perhaps Arc Trail.
I mean, Arc Trail has to be just better than Galvanic Blast. Maybe not if you're on the draw, because there's
a champion. You want to be able to kill champion.
But we're really talking about champion into Gather the Townsfolk as the only draw that really blows you out. And even in that scenario, your Arc Trail can still take out the 2 Townsfolk. So
yeah, I think you probably want to take out Garrick Relentless. He's pretty weak here.
Probably the Red Zenith too.
Red Zenith is okay actually.
Just as Hero.
Basco's it can kill Hero, and it can just go to the face, which in a game that has the ability to stall out. So
the ground can just get completely clogged up.
I mean, there's so many tokens,
right?
And the game could really get clogged up, and you just don't have the ability to get creature damage through very well. Red Sun Zenith, I think, could actually be a reasonable card to try and break through with. It's definitely a marginal card, and if he had something like a Naturalize that it was fighting for space with, I think you definitely want the Naturalize.
Just feels to me like Seyssel's deck doesn't have enough range to really take that sort of angle. Like,
sure,
his deck's all on the ground.
Yeah, but I mean, you do have the Strong-Root Geists that are getting in early, though I think Strong-Root Geist is pretty marginal. And the Hellriders also can get a lot of damage through.
Sure.
So you can get into a position, and especially because he knows that Basco does not have access to timely reinforcements. The players know each other's deck lists, and Basco has no life gain outside of Sword of War and Peace, which is almost certainly coming out. So an effect like Nug You becomes much more attractive when you know that it's attacking 20 and not potentially 26.
So Basco taking another mulligan here, and so is Yurien.
All right, seeing much the same as game 1. Both players going to 6 cards.
So do you think there's a way to sort of reconstruct Basco's deck, for example, and de-emphasize the 1-drops a little bit, and fit Evolving Wilds or something similar to sort of help the mana out?
I built a black-white deck that was not really so much a tokens deck, but I think it didn't have Intangible Virtue, but I had Honor the Pure, and I had a number of 2-drops rather than the 1-drops because I wanted to be able to play with Evolving Wilds effectively. And one of the issues is just that you want your deck to actually be able to present threats early in the game, and there's a huge difference between 1 and 2 mana. In particular, in your ability to also sort of incrementally add to your board as the game's progressing. When your deck's a bunch of things that are costing 2 and 3, it takes you a long time before you get to the point where you can play 2 spells in a turn.
Yeah.
So I think that despite the fact that it can lead to having some mana troubles because you're not really able to effectively play Evolving Wilds, and I mean, like Doom Traveler, for instance, just isn't a particularly powerful card.
Yes.
It's not doing very much in this deck. It's not like, other than Champion of the Parish, you're not getting like a ton of value out of it.
And Basco now going to 5 cards. Seyssel seems content on his 6.
And I mean, this is one of the dangers of sort of shaving lands from decks. As we were saying sort of at the beginning, when your deck comes together, you end up working just as smooth as any other. But
he didn't really shave land so much as he scalped it. Though. I mean, he cut 3 is no longer a shave.
This is like deforestation. Demolition.
You can no longer call it a shave once it's 3 lands.
It's like imploding the casinos and everything. Like the real estate values have plummeted.
Yeah.
But
buyer's market. But yeah, just watching the deck in action, like the Champion of the Parish, and of all those matches I watched, has never really been impressive to me, except when paired with Gather the Townsfolk. That's when it is actually powerful. So, and Doom Travel, as you just said, is just like pretty low impact. So it's like, could you rebuild the deck just to have a little bit more spot removal or something like that? Like, could you fit in like Tragic Slips and more Doomblade / Go for the Throats to try to hedge your early game? Because all the power from this deck appears to be like Crusades plus token generating effects. Maybe you could add a second White Sun Zenith and go back to 24, 25 lands. Like, I think there's a direction you can take this deck.
There's definitely, you do reduce the potential like sort of nut draws of the deck.
Yes.
But it's possible the deck ends up being ultimately more consistent. So Basco, with his 5-card hand, has a turn 2 Gather the Townsfolk. Yurien with a Llanowar Elf to lead things off. I don't really see what he has for turn 2. It looks like just a Green Sun Zenith.
Which I'm sure, I believe he's...
Oh, he has a Stranglegeist, okay.
Yeah, I was going to say
Zenith. Hold on to that Zenith. Because that Zenith can become something much more impressive. So Geist cracks for 2. Oh, he has a bird as well. So if he has another land, he can Zenith for Huntmaster next turn. And he also has a Huntmaster in hand already. So he probably wants to save that Zenith to get a Acidic Slime, which is going to be very important against the Honor the Pure that Basco just drew.
Yeah.
So Basco looks to be just... I think he just wants to attack and then play Midnight Haunting.
Yeah, he has a Midnight Haunting, so I would just assume.
Yeah, the humans come in. And when you mulligan to 5, not playing anything when you have 3 mana is less suspicious, but still kind of suspicious. They have Midnight Haunting. But you're going to attack that Stranglegeist right in anyway. It's totally happy to trade. Quote-unquote trade. So here, Yurien, I think, is just going to cast the Huntmaster. Yep. So going back up to 20 life, getting a Wolf. Basco will play his Midnight Haunting during Yurien's end step. And then...
he has another land. I think his last card in hand is Honor the Pure plus a land. So if he rips another Crusade here, he's in there.
Oh yeah, if he has an Intangible Virtue, for instance. Nope, it's another land. So his Honor the Pure is going to come down and probably send the squad.
Yeah, I think you're happy trading off whatever you can trade off here.
Yeah.
Although I think the last card in his hand is Vault of the Archangel.
Ooh, so
which
you
possibly means
you may just want to send flyers.
Yeah. So I think that's where he's at. The issue is that if his plan is just to spin Archangel, he's running the risk of Huntmaster just destroying him. So
yeah, especially with Yurien at 20 life already. Though if he is gaining 8, it ends up being pretty potent. He's sending for 4 in the air at least. The question is whether those humans want to come in. What do you think you attack with any of the humans?
No.
Chris thinks you do. All the creatures come in.
I just think trading off when you've mulliganed to 5, I just don't think you can afford to trade off one of your tokens for a wolf. Basically,
normally this is a trade you'd be thrilled to make.
Yes, under normal circumstances. But on a 5-card hand, I would either be looking to, basically sit back and sort of manage Seysel's side of the attack. And with Vault, you can start going in the air plus vaulting to manage the damage race. And then if you ever draw a second Crusade effect...
Yurien drew, looks like a Wolf Run, which is not only the additional mana source he needs to be able to Zenith for a Slime and kill that Honor the Pure, but also going to present a huge threat.
Also allows him to do something productive on his turn if he wants to set up Huntmaster to kill something on his opponent's turn.
Right.
So now, Basco's going to be really under the gun.
Wolf Run surprisingly works well with Wolves.
It's like a combo.
So yeah, Slime takes out Honor the Pure, and now Basco is definitely in a disadvantaged position. He's getting attacked for 4 more damage down to 12, and only has 3 power in play.
And if he doesn't cast anything on his turn, which seems likely, then...
Yeah, that Huntmaster is just going to flip. And Yurien actually has Red Sun Zenith in his hand. So...
Thank God, because the board's gotten cluttered.
Yeah. It's going to be hard to break through with, what looks to be like 9 power in a Wolf Run.
Yeah.
10 power in a Wolf Run when that guy flips. So Basco down to 12. I think that card that he does have...
I think it was Champion of the Parish and Vault of the Archangel as a stand.
Champion of the Parish is not what you want at this point in the game. And this is sort of what we were talking about. The Champion is the sort of card that, when you draw Champion turn 1, then have Gather, it's awesome. But at
it is pretty low impact.
Most other points in the game, it's a pretty bad card. Basco sending for 2, just the 2, and plays the Champion.
Oh, sorry, Doom Traveler.
Doom Traveler, okay.
It's a little bit better.
It is a little bit better. It's just a little embarrassing for Champion. It's like, it's Doom Traveler. Superior.
Thank goodness, we got a little action.
And Yurien, I think, just wants to send... He can just send Slime and Strangrootgeist, and he can Wolf Run one of them.
And then just sit back on his Huntmaster.
Yeah, that seems like that's got to be his play. Certainly don't attack with Huntmaster here. You certainly do play your land, because you want to get as much mana into that Wolf Run as you can. And especially with the Red Sun Zenith in his hand, Basco's just dead in a turn.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3. He Wolf Run for 4, and though it is not relevant now because Basco has all 1 toughness creatures, Wolf Run on a Death Touch creature is particularly potent because you only ever have to assign 1 because 1 is lethal damage. So even if there was a 20 power blocker. No, trample.
And on the other side of the bracket, Brian Page has won his match 2 games to 0.
So now we know which Delver deck is in the finals.
He has punched his ticket to the finals.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian Page, a local player, came in at first seed in the Swiss, and the new play-draw rules potentially going very much in his favor. He's on his way to the finals, where he will also get to choose to play or draw. I'm guessing he'll choose play. I don't think there's any reason to attack with his Llanowar Elf.
Well, just the only reason I could see is as a hedge against him ripping a Crusade. Like, are you happy just trading off some portion of your board? But I agree. Like, if it was a 1/1 blank, I like an attack here. But since you can just convert that Llanowar Elf into Keswick Wolf Run mana, which is a damage
you're gonna Wolf Run through it anyway. It's just gonna trade with a Doom Traveler.
Yeah.
So it seems like you'd rather just use it for mana.
All right. So he's doubling up on the Slimer.
So we're just gonna Wolf Run either of them. Really, doesn't matter. It's equal damage. Probably this Wolf Run the Undying guy, sure. So 6 damage comes in, hitting Basco down to 6 life. That Acidic Slime will trade with the Human and the Doom Traveler, which gives us a Spirit left over. Basco with 3 Spirits, gonna go to 2 in his upkeep once that Huntmaster flips. And that will put him at 4 life, facing, 6, 7 power, a Wolf Run, and a Red Sun Zenith?
Yep.
And Basco without timely reinforcements in his deck. So thinking this one's going to go pretty quickly to Yurien. Howls of the Moon, Basco, a second vault.
Pretty
not
sweet.
Not a particularly effective card, and Basco extends the hand.
So Yurien Seyssel wins 2-0. Two pretty lopsided games.
Yeah, I mean, Basco did mulligan a couple times. Yeah. Yurien mulligan as well in the first game. Basco twice in the second. But yeah, I mean, Yurien